Hey everybody, I wanted to cover a couple of quick tips that I've noticed with the Anycubic Vyper. I set it up and I've been doing some printing with it, and I wanted to cover a couple of observations and a couple of quick tips. A couple of deviations perhaps from the instructions that I did. So, first important tip that I think everybody should know underneath here. Of course, I'm sure you figured it out if you haven't, but there is a very heavy-duty zip tie that's a little tricky to get off. I recommend pulling the tray as far as you can forward, and that will help you clip underneath with something like a pair of cutters. And then they do tell you in the instructions, just make sure the wheels underneath are tight, the wheels under here. Another thing that I think is important that they don't really tell you is you have a nice tool drawer right here, and it comes with a bunch of tools in it, which is really great. I don't know what the rest of these are for because I didn't need them. Obviously I didn't even take them out of the plastic. I have some Allen wrenches, there's a nozzle cleaner, a pair of cutters, so that is great. But on my model, these magnets were reversed, so I used a small nail underneath here and just pushed these up, flipped them around, and now that holds this whole drawer in nice and tight where all the tools are. Oops, let me put these guys back. And so there's that. The other interesting thing that that happened to me, I'm not sure if it's going to happen to you, but when I went to print the owl off of the SD card that comes with this Vyper, there weren't any files on it. The print menu here was blank, and there were no files for me to print. I had to take the SD card, put it in the SD card adapter, bring it to my computer, and move the owl.gcode file out to the root. For me, the owl G-code file was in something called English files or English Vyper files or something like that. There is an owl.gcode file there. You can't print from subfolders. Any G-code file, and you can only print G-code files, any G-code file you want to print has to be in the root. That means right when you open the SD card, it has to be right there in that top level folder, root folder, or else this menu system won't be able to see it. If it's in a folder called My Awesome G-Code Files, and then you have all your G-Code files in there, it's not going to work. It has to be out there. So I had to go into the folder, copy it out on the SD card, pop it in, and boom, I printed my owl, and that was fine. Another interesting tip that they don't tell you, but I thought was pretty cool. This arm here that comes with the Vyper, this spool can be on the right or the left. This spool holder here is keyed and can sit on either side. You can either have your spool here or your spool on this side. I have mine on this side. It feels a little more stable, and I might pull it to the left just a little more because you can see it's not quite a nice straight shot. I might like it over a little more, but I'm trying it out on this print. I had the arm all the way to the right with the spindle or the holder to the left, and I felt like it was a little too wobbly for me, so I swapped it over. But in any event, depending probably on your width and placement, because the motor is here, so you can only put it on either side of this motor here, right? You can only connect it either here or here. That's as close as you can get. And so depending, I just thought it was really thoughtful that this could be, you could put the spool here or the spool here. So the other thing that's very important is you want to set your power, which is back here. It ships by default at 220, and you'll want to make sure if you're in the US you pop that to 115, which is which is 110. And I think that, oh, there's one other thing I did not do, but they say in the instructions to do, which is to zip tie this feed tube to this piece of braided cable here. In my opinion, that is putting way too much pressure on, because this is already bundled sort of here. So this cable, that's as much slack as that has. I don't think taking this white tube here that's going to the filament and to the hot end, I don't see. Look where they are right now. They're in two totally different places. I feel like you should give this tube as much sort of freedom of movement as it needs. I don't really see the point in zip tying this to this, which definitely has a lot less. It's a pretty stiff sort of cable, and if you trap these two together, I don't see the point in doing that, really. I don't. It's going to really restrict this. I mean, this is already pretty stiff. This is kind of floppy, and I don't think there's a point in doing that. So I've printed quite successfully without that. I do think this cable could use slightly better cable management, because it does sometimes hit this motor here. But for now, it's been okay. I would love to see it sort of over here a little more, because it only needs to move front and back. It's moving in a very sort of linear way, right? This cable just has to move front and back. So some kind of improved cable management here would be nice to stop this from binding on the motor. But I haven't had a problem with it yet. It's just it would be nice if there was a way to kind of control it such that it could just move front and back like this, like it's doing right now, and not loop around this motor and catch. But it was having a tendency to go that way. I tried to kind of push it over like this, but if you bind it up under here, that'll be fine. But eventually once it pulls all the way forward, for example, when the print is finished, it's going to pull out from under here. So I don't want to zip tie it here, because this whole rail needs to move vertically, and this is just moving horizontally. So I don't really want them connected. But in any event, so there's that. You can see just how much, even since I've been sort of filming, how much this spool has moved on this arm. I do have another spool holder that I made. I'm not a fan of this like rocking. I feel like that might be too aggressive, but this is the spool holder that they gave you. I've had pretty good luck with this Geetek filament, by the way. I can't say I've used anything else, because this is what I loaded right when I unboxed the machine, so I do want that to come over a bit. This is not adjustable in any way to sort of control this. I think just like a rubber ring here would have been great to hold this steady, and then this would be a very reasonable, I think, spool holder. But with this much play, this thing's getting jerked all around, and it's moving a little too much for my liking. So I'm gonna do something there. We'll see. I'll make a separate video about that. Like I said, this Geetek is wound really nicely, and I've printed a whole bunch with it, and it hasn't. And I've taken this spool on and off here a few times, kind of playing around with it, and it didn't unwind or do anything weird. So I'm pretty happy with this. It was really cheap. I think it was like $16 on Amazon for the white. You can see I'm printing something interesting here, which I'll have a video on that too. So anyway, those are my initial observations. I do wish this had a Wi-Fi like my Mono X does, and I could monitor it. I can monitor it from a mobile app. That would be really cool, but I guess it does have the ability to connect right to a actual device. You can use comes with the Cura drivers, and you could connect to it. So with a laptop or a Raspberry Pi or something like that. But in any event, I'm gonna let this print. I'm gonna do a follow-up. I just wanted to give some of my real quick observations, sort of slight deviation from the initial setup. I hope if you have a Vyper, I hope you're enjoying it. I certainly am, and I'll get back to you with. I have a nice unboxing video that's coming, and some first impressions and some setup, and like I said, some other things coming soon. Thanks for watching.